to order. Start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Southampton Town Trustees Work Session, Wednesday, September 12, 2018, 3 p.m. Sorry, Bill.
Edward. Afternoon, Bill. Yeah.
President Warner.
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Horowitz.
Here.
Trustee Pell.
Here.
Trustee Stafford.
Here.
Trustee Welker.
Here.
Sir, we have a quorum present today.
All right, thank you very much. We have Ross Baldwin from GIS. Come do a presentation on 4x4 access, baseline mapping, and Lake Agawam permitting process. Yes,
We were just here.
he's here. Get him in and out.
Get him in and out. Did you get that? That's the end of the world.
Gentlemen. Hello.
Ladies?
Hey. Lisa. Jessica, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Ross, you want to state your name for the record?
Ross Baldwin, GIS Manager.
Thank you.
James Gormley, cartographer.
Thank you.
Jessica Gillespie. So we just wanted to briefly talk about the 4x4 map that lots of people come into the office asking about. Back in April, James and I and Ross were all talking about updating that. I spoke with a few of you guys. I don't know if I touched base with all of you guys about this map. So basically, where we're at is I'm gonna coordinate with James and Ross about finalizing this map, and then we'll bring it to you guys for an approval, if that sounds okay.
So these will be all the access points on the bay and ocean beaches with a 4x4 permit, correct?
As well as where you can drive on the beach.
Okay.
That's what we're looking to do.
All right, so
So we're looking to, we've gathered a lot of your feedback. We're going to produce a map, and then whether we email it around and then eventually everybody approves it, and then we move forward to making it publicly available.
Yeah.
So on the ocean beach, it recognizes our easement through the villages and such, and also the town, and as it, correct?
Well, we haven't kind of distilled the information that you provided to Jessica
Okay.
yet, so we'll work through it, but the point of the map is to just have the access sites as well as where you can drive on the beach.
Okay.
With the trustee sticker.
Yep, so as it progresses, we'll give you any
Exactly.
needed input you need.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
mean, even after the busy season, right now, people are still asking for a map like this, so it's definitely in high demand.
And we could
Right.
produce it digitally on the website as well, your website, so they can access it in multiple different formats.
I think it's a great idea. I think we should add though, during clover season, put it on the bottom there. Also, a permit is needed to ride on the beach and the hours that you can ride on the beach.
Right.
So it's clear.
We've thought about that as
Sure.
well as villages.
Yep.
There's different jurisdictions, you
Yeah.
have different stickers, so we want to make sure we
Maybe
get
put
that correct as
different
well.
colors, like our.
Exactly, yep.
Layers.
Yeah.
So-
But it's a well-needed thing. Thank you.
Yep, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, we'll look forward to your feedback.
Put the rules on it.
Rules?
Oh, yeah, like the speed limits and stuff like that?
Okay,
Sure.
your tires, okay.
Yeah, it'll be a nice document to hand along with the 4x4 permit.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if you guys have any other information, you can talk to me about it, and I'll talk to these guys.
I would reach back to James about any information you need about the county and the county parkland and their access and stuff like that. He would have all of that information as far as the plovers, the seasons open and closed with them and such. So
Good.
you
Okay.
have a good document then.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And the other
Lake
thing that we
Agawam
tabled.
parking
Yeah,
permit?
Okay, I think we're,
We're tabling the
Oh,
Lake Agawam
okay.
discussion now?
Okay,
okay, thank you.
great, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah. Scott, you have,
Table at Lake Agawam for the next scheduled work session, which will be September 26th.
sounds good.
I have some questions.
Well, I've been contacted by Christine Fenton in the town engineers department, as far as the ability for the necropsies on the animals that are brought to the town facilities. Most times, these necropsies are done on the beach, and they're buried on the beach. But the philosophies have changed on some of these procedures and how to dispose of these animals. So a couple of them have ended up back in the town facilities. And I guess there is no hold harmless agreement about, with the entity that does the necropsy and the town.
Correct. And, I've opined that this is more an issue, the need for the hold harmless isn't really a trustee need, it's more the town once the animals are brought to a town facility. But it was brought back to my attention that the trustees have more of a working relationship with, I don't know the,
Mr. Giovanni.
Giovanni.
so I think, with your permission, I would get his contact information and then just coordinate with him.
We were at a meeting with the chief of police, the supervisor, Mr. Giovanni, and Scott and myself, and this was never brought up. It was more or less of how to properly dispose of a very large whale on the beach, because normally it's not taken off the beach, it's done there and buried there. But like, in the light of the wanting to dispose of it in the town landfills, or at times it's needed to be brought there.
Right.
This is a step further that's, and it should be also consideration of a vehicle that's used to transport the animal from the side of the beach to the facility, because there's a lot of, material that drains on the road and stuff like that. So just a heads up that, this should be a thought process, a little more broader than just the agreement. It should be, how to dispose of on the town property, proper permits from the DEC for burial of these animals at the town facilities.
Right. At the same time, you should really write a protocol and adopt it into the Blue Book on step-by-step how to handle it. In addition, my conversations and my understanding is that they're going to set a budget now. The
Funding
town's going to set a budget. I believe we're going to start at a $20,000 budget on the town side to facilitate this trucking and removal.
Okay.
Okay? And I will work with you on the
Blue Book?
on the wording on the Blue Book to make an adoption to that for the protocol for
Great.
whale burial. Okay?
Can I make a recommendation that we should have some kind of procedure to put a bid out for the eastern part of the town versus the western part of the town for a contractor to be able to basically be on call, because a lot of times it seems like it happens on weekends or after hours. So, that way we won't have to make 3 or 4 different calls to different contractors. It can get pretty expensive taking these animals off the beach and burying them. So, I just want to take that into
Yeah, we should-
consideration.
Yeah, we work with the comptroller's office on that because the budget's going to come out of the town side, so it'll run right through,
Okay.
right through the standard procedures.
The last animal we did, the girls asked to take it to the dump. Christine Fenton asked for an insurance policy, and they produced us an insurance policy insuring the girls that were gonna do the necropsy at North Sea.
Who are the girls?
They work for Giovanni.
Okay,
I'll give you his information after.
sure.
We have a contact card for
All
them.
I
right.
think I have it
But
downstairs.
Seth has been very responsive
Yes.
to our needs. I mean, I have nothing but praise for him no matter what.
Well, on these larger animals, you need very big, very large equipment. The county did have a whale in Shinnecock a few years ago, and they tried to bury it or take it off with very small equipment.
Right.
And it was a terrible failure.
Yeah, they broke the tail off it.
Yeah.
But even that day when we were stuck in Sagaponack, and he had certain people in Sagaponack that lived there, they wanted no part of it. Still had to call Seth.
Okay. All right. Just trying to make the procedure run.
Yeah, they might be working off of that county contract, so it probably eases its way through the procurement procedure, so we can hash that out through the comptroller's office.
Yeah, but his county contract, as far as dredging and stuff that we do with him, it only is Monday through Friday. On weekends, it's
I
not
got
not
you.
active, correct?
Yeah, so let's ask John McDonald
Yes.
how to deal with that.
All right. All right, James, you want to start on the applications?
Get you that phone.
I have a renewal here for Oscar's Fishing Station. Is this the third renewal or second renewal? It's the second renewal here, but I thought it was the third renewal. All right.
I think it's the third.
It's a renewal. Would you like me to read the whole entire scope of the project? Originally authorized as subject property under trustee permit 10892, issued April 1st, 2015, to renew first his permit to the reconstruction of 7 docks as following: a 40-inch by 80-foot dock, a 40-inch by 45-foot dock, a 40-inch by 110-foot dock, a 40-inch by 55-foot dock, a 55-foot by 17-foot dock, a 55-foot by 14-foot dock, 6 40-inch by 20 floating docks using plastic material to be constructed. 3 docks as follows: 53.3 feet by 10 feet. No, these are decks. 53.3 by 10, 49.53 by 10, and 66.9 feet by 10 feet decks on the premises attached to the bulkhead. All non-compliant decking must be removed, and a 10 by 10 shed must be removed from trustee's jurisdiction. To modify permit number 10892 to include the replacement of a concrete walkway near the bulkhead with the following dimensions: 5 by 135 feet on the east side, and 10 by 180 feet on the north side, and 5 by 160 feet on the west side. We've approved this twice, and they're asking for it to be renewed again. So I recommend its approval. Moving forward, okay? Thank you. I have Steve Malkinson here, 72 Far Pond Road, Shinnecock Hills, New York. The consultant is Inner Science.
When you're ready, Ed.
I picked the application up upside down, so it's a little disorganized.
You don't need that.
It's really upsetting. Well, would you like to give us the narrative, Jim? On
Yep.
this project?
Yeah, as soon as I sign it. All right. Last time we came to the board was for initial advice on how to proceed with this piece of property. This is the end of Far Pond Road. This is 72 Far Pond Road. There's a nice rock wall that was most recently worked on by Dave Whalen, who did a really nice job standing the rocks up, and the rocks have held well. And what we have is rocks all on the guy's property line until we get around into the return. And at the return, it's non-engineered rocks. They're just kind of laid down. And the comments that we had from the trustees the last time were, take care of the erosion, but do it all on the property line. So we hired an engineer. It's Ed Armis.
And Ed came back with a different idea, not what I asked him to do. And he said installing rocks along that property line would be very difficult to do, and it would be counterproductive. So what we have instead is a rock gabion. That's caged rock, put on a nice steep slope and running right along the property line, not involving getting rid of the sand that abuts Mr. Malkinson's property, and it runs right to the guy's driveway. So it would essentially protect the property,
Picture, narrative.
and it would be built like that in cribbing, and would extend right to the driveway and protect the eastern property line. It would allow the sand in front of it to stay, and we'll plant it to beach grass. It does require that we remove the sanitary system. So where do you put the sanitary system? The town wants to have alternative sanitary systems installed, so we told the guy, the only choice we have is put it on the north side of the house, and it is an alternative sanitary system with removal of the old one. So that is something that the Environment Division would probably be supportive of. But we have just submitted these plans back to the town, as well as New York State DEC. So I'm here to ask you for your second round of advice before I proceed. One thing that it doesn't resolve is the erosion at the end of the road. To date, Highway Superintendent has placed sand there. It's not the greatest solution. He puts the guardrail back up, puts the stop sign back up, and the thing fails and falls down right away. So we don't pretend to resolve all the problems here. This is a trustee's piece of property immediately adjacent. I have a survey, if anybody's not familiar with the end of the road. This piece of property used to be part of Cap's Cottages. When Cap's Cottages was converted to single-family residences, there was a timber bulkhead.
Yep.
There's a timber bulkhead with rocks in front of it. That's what you have
Right now.
right now.
Yes.
The timber bulkhead's still there. I don't know what kind of shape it's in. The rock wall is in great shape. Where it turns here is okay. What we have now is end around erosion that goes like this, and it takes and scours out the end of the road, which is much shorter. When I went to college, the road was approximately here.
About 200 feet further into the bay.
We used to dig bait for flounder fishing at the end of that road. So it's much different than it was. This is a trustee's property, as far as I know. Trustee's property always was part of the dredge spoils for this, for the opening from Shinnecock into Far Pond. And material was placed here, and material was placed down the beach, all the way to the inlet to Middle Pond, and that was a good thing because it helped maintain the dune grass and all the near shore area from the end of Far Pond Road all the way to the old tug-of-war site at Middle Pond Road. Be that as it may, if the trustees have any advice here, and you're ready for me to go see the highway superintendent, Alex Greger has always been easy for me to contact and to go see, and I will, but I don't want to do anything there because, number one, it's not on the property, and number two, I don't want to do anything or propose anything. And I have the trustees supporting the...
Well, one thing that should be brought into the conversation is that Far Pond only started being dredged around 1978. Prior to that, it was dug by hand by some of the local fishermen to let some of the bait fishing in and out of there. After that, it's been regularly dredged every 5 or 6 years, which encourages more erosion, more currents, and since it's been dredged on a regular schedule, it's really eroded terribly in front of the road and the points north of that and Mr. Malkinson's property.
And the trustees' property.
And the trustees or town property, yes, is taking a beating.
It's losing vegetation, which means it's less and less likely to withstand small storms. You get a southwest wind all summer long. We get storms in the summer, we get northeasters in the fall. It depends on which way the wind blows. But this would resolve 72 Far Pond Road, and it would do it all on the guy's property. It would require removal of the sanitary system, but we have room to put it. It's already engineered. It's already at the health department. We're starting to get the approval process going there. I haven't heard back from DEC yet, but I wanted the town trustees to tell me their thoughts on.
Upon mine and James' initial review of the project, it looked like the majority of this rock gabion is going to be above our jurisdiction into the conservation boards. It's subsequently higher than the high tide mark, which is there right now. And you're looking to remove a lot of vegetation and to incorporate it right into the bluff. So James and I went, am I correct about that? I mean, it looks like it's about 10 or 15 feet landward of where we're, going to be permitting something. And at the current rate of erosion, if we get a couple bad storms, it'll be right in our jurisdiction. So I think acting in a quick fashion and doing something that's practical there is a good course, but I think it's something that we should bring to Marty Shays and the conservation boards, for them to have an opinion on.
That's fine.
I mean, I think it's...
You're going to send me to conservation, that's fine.
Well, I think it's between us and some of it does start in our jurisdiction because it's wet, but then it goes upland towards Mr. Malkinson's driveway, towards the highway department. I think more of a holistic approach, the road end incorporating it with Mr. Malkinson's project would be the better way to go.
One thing that's different than the first time that we came to see it is we don't cut into the front too much. And there's not any real native vegetation there. As far as I know, it's a bunch of junipers, or yews, or some ornamental landscaping that's trying to hold the face of the bluff.
Yeah.
Part of this project should be restoring the beach grass.
Yes.
Period. And I don't think we need to do any soft approach out here or there, but I gotta tell you, at the end of Far Pond Road, you could resolve the end of the Far Pond Road falling into the bay by putting a big biolog there, which you could drive over, or you could put a sloping, the sloping gabion that I remember the best was at the end of Tiana Circle, facing and a big section of Shinnecock where the wind came across. The guy had erosion. It was next to a bulkhead, and he had rocks that were laying down like this. We got approval for a house there, and he has Spartina Paytons growing in the rocks.
Yes.
And that kind of thing could stop the erosion there. And if the town were to require it, that's probably something that our client would be willing to help.
Well, I think in 10 years, if something isn't done to shore up that road, and Mr. Malkinson isn't going to be even to get to his property because it's been eroding that quickly.
We're close to his driveway right now.
It's within 25 feet.
It's within 10 feet.
Okay.
So the end of the road is really close. When there's sand in front of it, it doesn't look precarious. When the sand washes away, which is every time there's a southwesterly breeze, during the summer and the water's high, the sand goes away and that driveway is really close.
Yes.
The water gets over top the road and goes and lays in the roadbed itself. There's a low spot behind it, and they have a big saltwater puddle that everybody drives through. It's not the greatest.
Do you want to incorporate that into your project? Is that what you're saying?
Last time I did a project like this is exactly what, remind me, what was Mr. Bennett's name?
Bill Bennett?
Bill Bennett and his father. And we got approval from the trustees to do some stonework. It was in front of Ray Halsey's property at the end of Rose Hill Road. And the quid pro quo was the trustees gave an okay to do that, and the property owner had to extend the rocks across the end of Rose Hill Road. They're still there, you can go down and see them. It's worked out pretty well. The rocks that were approved went like this, along the shoreline.
It's an undulating rock
It
river.
looks nice.
It does.
It's still a bad place to put a boat. That guy's dock has been on top of the rocks several times,
Yes.
along with his boats. But,
All right, so I think you should have a conversation with Marty and to see what his, what his take is on it. And I'll gladly, if you want me to come with you or sit down so that we can, it goes from ours to his, so it's kind of unique, and removing septic which is a good thing because it's very close to the water right now.
this will be a modern septic. The house can't get bigger. There's no room to wiggle here. Fixing the sanitary system would be smart. Putting beach grass on the slope would be smart. And I can submit it to Marty Shea electronically right away, and then he's probably going to tell me to submit a formal application.
Yeah, I think this is something that should be worked on with, both of us and have the most amount of input.
I will tell Mr. Malkinson that's...
Okay.
You holding that, Ed?
Yes. This is the last time I met with Mr. Malcolmson. He was very agitated about losing property.
He's been agitated several times, but he's getting calmer.
Yeah, well, waterfront property is can be a little stressful.
Should be watch what you buy.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Do you have any other applications?
I hope not.
Okay.
No, I don't think.
All right. So we're going to hold that, Lisa.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Thanks.
All right, I have an application here. 32 Hawthorne. It's a property along Shinnecock Hills.
BKR Shores.
Hello, Gina.
Gina?
How are you? Gina Rigdon, DKR Shores,
Yeah.
thank you, represent Madeline Bennett.
The applicant proposes to reconstruct in place an existing 57 linear feet of Navy-style timber bulkhead utilizing vinyl sheet piling, Shore Guard 425 series with helical anchor system to minimize the disturbance on the bank, to backfill the new structure with 55 cubic yards of sand to be trucked in from a upland source, to reconstruct as necessary an existing 4 by 3.6 platform, beach access steps 3 by 13, all on grade, walks and steps 182 square feet, replacing the existing rope railing and benches, all material to be untreated for decking and structures. See construction detail. Please note that the area of landward bulkhead are out of New York State jurisdiction. At Shinnecock Bay, Shinnecock Hills, town of Southampton. The project that is proposed is not on the property owner's property. It's seaward of his property on the Shinnecock Beach Road. We're in the process of having the applicant review a covenant that goes along with these properties along Shinnecock Hills, maintaining that we have the ability to have the structure taken out if ever need to be, and that he cannot claim any ownership of the property. Martha Reichert, our new attorney, has drafted the Jonas Covenant, and we have given it to their attorney for review, as we've all been given copies of it to review as far as the board. So any concerns or questions you have, please bring them back to Martha so that we can incorporate them in this application process.
I can email you.
Please.
The one I currently did doesn't have bluffs. This property has bluffs, but we can easily
Okay,
just add the bluffs and the features that are on the property.
all right,
Yep.
we'll let them know. Thank you.
So we're holding that, Ed?
Well, I really can't move it forward until we have the covenant and the papers,
Thank you.
Either vetted. I mean, does anybody on the board, have they looked at it, have any concerns with it? If not, it's been given to the attorney to look at, so, their attorney. So I'll hold
So
it
you want
until
to
we,
file a covenant
till we
first.
receive the,
All right, so I'll get you the,
All right, I'll email.
does anybody want to look at the application as far as what the proposal is? Pictures. Let's hope that there's no burial ground remnants in this area.
We're losing helicals, so
It's right in the area
digging
here.
anything up. In the past, they did the vinyl on either side, just not right there, so we're just connecting to that vinyl.
One recommendation I'd like to have is, as far as the steps that go down to the beach, they should be retractable so that they can be put up during the winter months, so they don't get taken out by any of the northeasters and storms that we have during the winter. We've done it on other properties along there.
Okay.
And this area is a bad place for storms. It's wet like 2/3 of the time as far as the tides.
Or removable, can you put
It
removable?
can be removable, yes.
one consideration is whether or not, if the steps are removable, where they can be stored. Can they be, is there room to store them on site, or do they need to go
They should
somewhere
be
else?
They
Right.
would, yeah, they could probably just be put right out.
Yeah, the bulkhead, yeah.
So behind the bulkhead, there's a deck
Yes,
the whole way, the
yes.
whole way along?
Not the whole way, there's like a little, like a U shape. This part right here is a deck. Not the whole way.
The one that's in specifically in our jurisdiction is I gave Bill you some of the dimensions of it.
It's like right here, that's the deck, there's this, just that. And it's been there since like 30s, I searched aerials back.
Yeah. The deck is 308 square feet. That's the size of the deck. Are we good with it? Okay, so we're just gonna wait until we get receive the covenant back from the client, and then we'll,
I have a question on that. Is it approvable tonight pending giving you the covenant to get the permit?
So it's always the board's discretion, but what I would
Like a check.
recommend is we could make it a condition of the approving resolution, and therefore the permit wouldn't issue until the covenant was recorded.
Right.
I would be okay with that, but that's up to the board to
So
decide
it
how
would save
they.
me a month. Chesterfield's on a schedule.
Well, I don't want the project to start without having the covenant.
No, I
No,
know that.
the
Like,
permit wouldn't issue.
Okay.
So we could have our resolution to, you know.
Okay, well, I guess we could do that pending the receipt of the covenant, the
I
signed
would give you a
covenant.
covenant, a check, or whatever, and,
Yeah, because, well, they have to sign it, I have to sign it, and then it has to be filed. So it's a process to have this all done.
exactly.
Hold
So
on.
if I have it approved today, that would
We
literally
can't
save.
approve anything.
We're going to move it forward?
No, with pending the covenant.
No, we
handing
can't
me-
approve anything today. It's a work session. It wouldn't be approved till.
Not today, you know what I mean?
Which
You
means
mean advance it.
so that
Advance.
the
Right,
resolution-
that's what I'm
Monday
trying
to
to, yeah,
approve
so we
it.
wouldn't be voting on it
Yeah.
until Monday.
I get you.
I guess we could
You're right.
advance, I mean, we have, everybody's in
Not
agreement that the project is good, we're just waiting in receipt of the covenant. So let's advance it for Monday's meeting.
Okay, so you'll give me the language to put in the resolution?
But we're not going to receive it, even if, that's how it gets tricky, because we're not going to have that covenant in the office and signed and everything by the meeting. So how would that work?
Well, the meeting itself would be the adoption of the resolution.
Yes.
Right, and so the resolution would have
The special
a
condition.
special conditions, and then it would say, you know, that, you know, no permit shall issue until,
Okay.
you know, the covenant,
As long
required
as,
covenant has been
as long
recorded.
as the girls in the office know this, I don't want to create, you know, sometimes we wait on stuff and it doesn't come forward, so I don't want this to be given out until.
I understand.
I can also email you the draft, and we can probably have it well in shape
Okay.
enough for the next meeting, too.
Okay.
Okay, I met with the attorney yesterday and gave him all the information.
That's a different attorney, though, for Jonas,
Oh, okay.
right? This is for,
Yeah,
so
I file a covenant.
different client, I have too many.
I do.
Sorry.
Within the day.
All right, okay,
Same day.
all right,
Okay.
yes, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. That
Yes,
would
we'll
save
do
me a
that.
month. I appreciate that.
Yep. Scott?
I got First Coastal Corp., 23 Old Point Road LLC, 23 Old Point Road. Reconstruct, replace 218 feet of existing bulkhead using vinyl sheeting. They want to increase the top elevation of the bulkhead by 18 inches. They want to establish a 10-foot wide non-fertilization buffer zone to be planted with red fescue, 12 inches on center. 3x20 ramp down to a 6x20 float. A couple of 8-inch piles, 2 of them, and obviously no treated wood will be used. Is that correct?
That's correct. Billy Mack, First Coastal, for the applicant.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's relatively straightforward. The bulkhead has been maintained, but still quite functional, but is in need of replacement. And we'd take out the treated material and replace it with new vinyl with non-treated timbers.
Is it Blue Book compliant, James? Blue Book compliant?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
This place gets
It definitely
washed
needs,
out.
yeah, it definitely needs replacement. I've been out around the entire area over the last few days with the high tides. It's been up and over, dragging everything back into the bay.
Tides have been tough over the last
The tide's been
couple days.
Tough over the last couple days.
Yeah.
No wave action, just super high
yeah.
tides.
The DEC permit, what is the elevation that changes that they are going to recommend or
They are allowing 18 inches, up to 18 inches.
up, same on this property?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what are the heights of the neighboring bulkheads?
The property to the south is a low sill bulkhead, I believe. And the property to the north is within 6 inches of this. I think it's 6 inches higher.
Yeah, this one will be the highest one in that general
Yeah.
little area. But
Is he going to hold 18 inches?
I don't know. It's a good question. You may not need it, maybe 12 inches. But,
we'd have to, we'd have to amend it then, because.
well, we'd like to have the option to go to 18 inches because that's what he preferred. Before we do construction, we do review that.
Because you're requesting 18 on this.
Correct. Up to 18.
Well, no, this says by 18.
Okay. Then we'll build it by 18.
That's what this says.
How much material are you going to be trucking in on the site?
I think the quantity was,
There's none listed here.
How are you gonna stop the erosion to the neighbors on the downside?
there's a return on that property, I believe. There's an existing return on their property. So,
The one with the low sill?
yeah. So that wouldn't exceed any further
And
than
the
that.
fill you bring in will be higher or lower than that? You're gonna-
Fill we would bring in would taper off to that.
There's no,
And the water runs there. Anyway, to catch the water so it doesn't run on the neighbor's property.
Right.
So you don't have any returns, you just have standard 100 and...
Yeah.
18.
There are returns on the adjacent properties. So there's no real need for a return on this property, but if you guys would prefer us to put in a return, we could do that.
Well, my thought is being that one is a low sill bulkhead, so that's
Low.
probably 2 feet, no, more than 2 feet lower than this bulkhead post height, right?
Right, well, that's true. That's
And you
true.
get all the water, it's gonna be like this, and all the water's gonna run down it if they don't keep.
Well, we taper it, yeah.
Yeah.
but there's
It's gonna,
no,
get
But,
heavy
um,
rain, it's gonna erode if it's not planted correctly.
But the property facing towards the east like that, on a strong northeaster, you're gonna have a lot of erosion on the south end of this project. So you should probably take in consideration either putting a return of 10 feet, at least 10 feet on it to,
Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
otherwise it's gonna wash out and it's gonna all scour into the bay.
right, and you're gonna have to quantify,
It might be better.
you're gonna have to quantify
I'm
this.
just, maybe,
Because you got the, you have to find how the height different from the neighbors with the low
Yeah.
sill bulkhead.
I
That's
think-
what you really need to
think
know.
that 10 feet is the normal return,
Right,
maybe
right.
it's.
Maybe it's a little bit more.
Maybe it's
We'd have to
15,
find out.
because at that point, you need to be upland far enough where it's not going to be washing the new project with all the fill until it's rooted.
I think what it is on that south property, the old original bulkhead return is there at a higher height than the, so, but just for point of information, but I think it does make sense to include a new return,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah, and there's no, it doesn't speak of fill here. right?
It doesn't, and we'll have to amend that.
You're gonna have to quantify that,
Yeah.
so this is gonna be on hold, Lisa.
Thank
And
you,
also, can you
Scott.
have the height of the neighbors?
Yeah, it's all gonna have to get quantified.
Okay.
And the red fescue grass that you're proposing there, now, is that something we're going to allow him just to grow as long as he wants for a nice buffer between the property and the bay? Or is this something that's going to be cut on a regular basis and almost become like a manicured lawn?
Typically, the red fescues are clumpy and,
Okay.
you know, they're nothing
So,
that
so
you
we could
want
do
them out.
something like the last one we did, only cut twice a year, sickle cut, something where it remains a nice, big, thick buffer.
Yeah.
And if you do get an overwash with the storm, it'll stay through that storm.
Okay.
It's also gonna be backfilled with just plain sand.
Just sand.
Yes.
4 inches below the bulkhead cap.
Pardon me? 4 inches
inches.
below the bulkhead cap, exactly. Yep. Elevation.
And look at the north return, if that needs to be adjusted to.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot more work to be done on this one.
Good. All right, thanks for pointing out that, you guys.
So we're holding Scott, right?
Definitely hold.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I've got another amendment, but that's elsewise, so I'll wait. Thank you.
Got 19 Rampasture Road, Michael and Stacy, say that one, James.
I'm gonna try.
Logic.
Logic.
This was move and replace approximately 110 feet of existing bulkhead, Navy style, up to 18 higher, 18 inches higher, and up to 20 feet.
A couple work sessions ago, we had Sean Daly here. He's the neighbor. They both had the same project on. The vegetation was not put in, it was put gravel in. So they're just amending it to put gravel behind the bulkhead rather than the native vegetation.
Right, and it was a nicely done project.
Yeah.
We went and inspected the project. It was, doing its job. It's created a nice buffer there to not allow the sheet coming off of the grass to run into the Smith's Creek, which is impaired,
Yes.
to say the least. So they did do a nice project. They just want to amend it so that the buffer matches what's on the application to what's physically there. It is compliant with the Blue Book.
Was this the one, though, there was an email from the neighbor?
That was Sean Daly's.
That was the
That
other
had the email from the neighbor.
On the other side, yeah, he's further south. This guy's, so, this one, I think we should advance. It's fully compliant with the Blue Book.
All right. You good?
It's a good project. You good?
Yes.
Advance it. The next one I have is it's the town of Southampton, and we have a component in this as well. This is the Bay Avenue dock and pier area, where we have a ramp as well. It's a parks facility, and this is one where it is highly used by the public and is in desperate need of repair. This is a project that we're working out with the town, where they will be doing bulkheading across the front of the parks facility. And then it will ultimately segue into the side of the Bay Avenue and then shoot out to the trustee pier. What's happening is it's starting to fail, and, you know, the asphalt is getting holes in it, and the people that are trying to walk around down there are getting into trip and fall hazards. Part of the project was already done, the return side was already done in Shore Guard, so now it's a continuation of the project. This is a good shot right here to kind of give you a...
Are they gonna straighten the bulkhead up?
Well, that's the plan. I mean, if you look at the return side that they did a beautiful job over there.
No, but it looks like a crescent
Yeah,
shape.
it does.
Shaped bulkhead.
It does. Yeah, this is like an overlay of the whole thing. You can see where our section is in there, in the pier as well. So you'd come down, go here, and then like this, and then here's our ramp.
Yep.
This is one of the areas where we just put the life rings with the alarms and everything like that.
Is there any proposed dredging in this area?
There is, just around here, just to square this stuff right here.
Have we done water soundings around the dock to see if any of this needs to be?
Cashin, the town has hired Cashin
Okay.
to handle all of that, so they're dealing with that through that engineering company,
Yep.
and then,
And did we take in any consideration as far as the launching ramp and how it's going to be made in as far as prefab slabs and
that
stuff
we
like that?
have not done yet, but what we did do is we've had our maintenance crew go down there, and they did a nice repair, and we
Okay.
got some kudos actually from the community in terms of the repair that was done by the maintenance crew. I did speak to some folks who are in the business of the boat ramp about, what the engineering would take to, build the cofferdam and do everything that needs to be done. And I think we should move in that direction. Right now, it's all working very well with the repairs that were made, but realistically, this is all starting to fall apart. This is falling apart.
Yes.
And because there's a plan in to do across the front, it makes sense to hold it, take this whole section, shore it all up.
Yep.
And then attack the ramp at a later date,
Okay.
because it's okay right now. So this should absolutely advance.
No,
The elevations all remain the same, obviously, it segues into the pier and the road, so you can't play around with that. It does get overtopped, I go down there quite often, the front of this does get overtopped. It does need some native vegetation up against the bulkheading, but there's not much that you can do.
You're gonna use non-treated lumber?
Yeah, if you take a look at the part that they've already done, there's a picture of it in one of those that I sent you, they use in that.
Return.
The return has that shore guard material in there. So it would be a continuation of,
Well, once it all gets put together and comes back, we're going to review it as the trustees to make sure everything is compliant.
And waive the fee?
Yes.
So the town can afford to do it?
well, yeah, we're gonna
It
be,
has a lot of public benefit. this
huge,
whole project.
huge public benefit, it's huge. People are down there snapper fishing, crabbing, all the time down there, which is why, it's a good project for the trustees and the town to get together and do the whole thing. That way, while the contractor's on site, we fix it all. We get one good solid structure.
It's the only public launching ramp for about 4 miles in
Exactly.
either direction. so.
Exactly. And there's
All right.
they put it all together. They've got cash in going out to
Okay.
bid. We have a piece of it, they have
Yep.
a piece of it. At the end of the day, it would be a really good project.
All right. Very good, Scott.
This one should definitely advance.
Okay. Billy?
That's,
Martin White, 33 Lake Drive, Southampton, New York. This project is to create a dock 4 feet wide by 10 feet out into, built out of non-treated wood, rest on the bottom of the pond. These through flow panels allow the light to go through. Be a light at the end of the dock. There'd be no handrails on the dock itself. I did not find the pictures in here.
There aren't there?
No, and also, all the plans he has says 20 feet. I need a set of plans which says 10 feet.
There's definitely a thing in there. Let me see it. There's gotta be one in here. I was just looking at, what's that one?
Bill, the light is gonna be dark sky compliant, right? It's not gonna be one of these lights that glare out all over the neighborhood?
No, there's no light on there.
Didn't you say there's gonna be a light on there?
No, it says no.
Yes, these.
No hand. No guardrail.
These have the 10
You
feet
said
on
there'd be a
there.
light on the end of the dock.
No. Oh, yeah, okay.
And there is an old bulkhead there, but he's letting it go. It's not, it's like buried pretty much.
Okay.
It's falling apart, so he's letting that go. We're not replacing that.
Is he removing it?
No. He is, if it would do more damage if you removed it to that vegetated shoreline there, so. He's abandoning it, essentially.
You should have a set of plans for the dock itself on here. Last view.
I don't see a cross view on it.
No. I think you need, that should be in here.
You want him to put a cross view?
Yeah, what the dock is gonna, how it's gonna look like in the water.
Okay.
Similar to that other consultants do.
The elevation of the dock?
Yeah, elevation on it, all that should be on it.
Okay.
Because this is, because the one here is very bland.
Is that it?
That's it.
No.
You need a set of plans.
Do we know what the water depths are?
The water depths.
So yeah, he has an older one, but he didn't update the newer one with the 10 feet. So this is the cross view, but it's
All right.
the 20 feet one.
Oh, he does have the water depths on it too?
Yeah.
So he'd need to,
I don't think he really needs the water depth if it's on a float, though.
It's not gonna float.
I'm just curious to know what the water depths are.
Plus it goes up and down the pond.
Yeah, but I'm just curious to see, and you're gonna cut it back to
10 feet.
10 feet.
So,
So we need
So
that.
just the side profile for the 10 feet.
Yeah.
yeah, plan
And
with
we'll
the dock.
include that.
Bill, we're holding that?
Yes. And the next one is Barbara Gubbins, 40B Island Creek Road. We're holding that one too.
Yes.
Got an email to hold it.
Alright. Mr. Riccardi, are you here about your Oscars fishing?
I was in the building, I just
Yes.
want to know if you had any questions.
No, we are moving it on for Monday's meeting, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So, I'm sorry, the last page of for that
You have it? It's for
Yeah.
the 10 feet?
is on there. is for 10 feet, the side profile.
That's the side profile that you asked with the ladder on it.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
You can move it forward.
Lisa,
I'm sorry?
we're gonna move that one forward. We found the. plans.
33
Some
Lakeside.
stuff in there.
Oh, Martin Waite, we're moving that forward?
Martin White, yes.
Yes.
These and,
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, James.
I've got one for Stephen and Amy Young, 6 Seagull Hill Road in North Haven, Holes Creek. He's proposing a fixed elevated catwalk kayak rack within the southern eastern section of the subject property to provide safe and practical access to the surface water at Poles Creek. Proposed catwalk will measure 4 foot wide by 170 feet long and will be supported by 48 timber posts 4 by 4. It will include seaward access ladder. The proposed catwalk will be elevated 4 feet above grade. The proposed kayak rack will be located at the southern side at the end and be open grade decking. All materials non-treated. James and I went over this.
Blue Book compliant?
That's what you said.
Yeah, it's not good picture.
No.
Wasted ink.
Same ones.
Kind of hard. This is where the water, that's where the water starts. Look at that, you know, wetlands.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't have
There's
a.
no water depth here, because this could be short now. Because he's, all it is access.
You proposed.
Should have some water depth.
Yeah.
He's got a ladder at the end of it, that's where he's gonna
Oh,
launch
it's
his
the
kayak.
mean low water, so that's,
That's it.
it goes right to mean low water, Billy.
That's it.
That's, mean high water's up here, but mean low water,
Down here.
that's down there. 4 feet above grade. Is it gonna be light penetrating?
Yes, all of it.
I mean, can we, I mean, actually, you could probably knock it down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Lower?
Yeah, I mean, isn't
But
there-
isn't the Army Corps gonna come back and say no?
I think we gotta get those pictures.
Is there another structure on any of the adjoining properties that are in there?
I can't say. I think there is, coming off Short Beach, I think there is another structure, and I think it's a solid little walkway out there.
Okay. Will the Army Corps even take jurisdiction over this, because it is not a navigable body of
I
water?
don't know. This is, Dennis Downs, local attorney in Sag Harbor's been handling this for them.
Yeah. I mean, we could lower it down to like,
Lower.
yeah, like to 3 feet, because, you know,
Kinda high.
3 feet would allow the grass. 4 feet's pretty high in there. I would ask for 3 feet, that would be my, and then have light penetrating decking, and then everything will grow right up around it, and you won't even see it from the road or anything. It is a pretty long, for that little creek.
Well, there's no handrails and nothing on it
Yeah.
either, so.
But if you lower it down, the grass will grow up and you won't even see it.
I thought he did that just because our other permits, we always get entangled over the 4.
I would question, I would go with the 3 feet, and if they come back, then we can, because they're gonna go with 54 inches. If that's an Army Corps application and they're taking jurisdiction, they're gonna go to 54 inches.
I'll call Dennis.
All right?
Yep. We're gonna hold it then?
Yeah.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, my first one is Jessica Vieira
I had a picture of the
and
dog.
Matthew
Look at this.
Roden,
I took
1
the other
Seatup
day.
Lane,
Must be on my other camera.
Remsenburg.
I asked the
Hey, everyone.
consultants 3
Steve
years ago.
Caputo for Vieira Roden.
Thank you.
Would you like to discuss the project, Mr. Vieira, Mr. Caputo?
The tag on. One to get the other feet. See what they got.
Do you want to describe?
We were last on August 1st, at which point I was asked to make a correction in the plan. We had originally proposed was to construct a dock consisting of 4 feet by 40-foot pier, 3 feet by 16-foot ramp, and a 6-foot by 20-foot float, installed 4 mooring piles to be constructed using flow-through decking and untreated lumber. When we were on the first, it was requested that we cut back that 4-foot by 40-foot pier to the mean low water. So we submitted updated plans showing it cut back 32.5 feet, which I sent over to you, and I just enlarged a copy or two if anybody wants to see it in an enlarged copy.
That's right.
We made the change here on the plan.
So you're pulling it back to the 2 feet?
Right, yeah, I think it was 7.5, had to come back almost 7.5 feet, so that it's in line with the depth measurements.
So it starts at 2.5 feet, that's good.
Is there a ladder at the end?
No,
Do you want one?
they didn't ask for one, I'm always leery of adding things people don't ask for.
It's a floating dock, I mean, right?
Yeah, it's got to 2.5 feet of water.
Okay.
Usually the ladders are for the fixed docks that you fall off the fixed dock, it's climbing up poles to get to the top of the
always
dock.
good
But
to
a
have
floating
a
dock.
There's not a little water there, if they fall off, they can walk back in.
There is no way to get out of here unless you have a floating dock.
You
in.
should have a ladder.
Yeah, because if you fall off the property right now, you're not gonna get back up there. All right. Give it?
Yep. I just put a ladder.
You can off the bulkhead if they wanted one, but it's like you said, if there's,
For safety.
well,
up to the ladder and just climb out.
Yeah. It's up to you.
Then I have to amend again.
Yeah.
I'd rather get this approved so that I can get them off my back.
It's at the end, it's the property adjacent to the end of the road.
Okay.
So if they were to fall in,
They could come up, what was an
Okay.
old boat ramp that I believe it's was a trustee boat ramp to the east of the property.
If it was, it
Yes.
still is.
Well, it has been closed off.
Okay.
Railings have been put up, steel bumpers have been put up. I think it used
It's
to
probably a
be-
town highway road, and they put up a road end so people don't drive into the bay.
You can still walk out.
Walk
there.
around it, yes.
It's got some broken concrete that's been dumped in there and all kinds of
But you can
nonsense.
walk.
You can, definitely walk.
Okay, then there's a way out,
You
okay.
got a way out.
There's definitely a way out.
Okay.
Right.
My question is, this will be on Mondays. Do I have to be here? I can't be here, so I would be okay if we wanted to put it off another week. I can't be here for you on Monday.
We usually go through all the issues, iron them out
You
at the
don't need
work
to say be
session,
here.
and if it looks like it's good to go on Monday, then we'll just.
Okay, I just want to make you aware.
Yep, you don't need to.
You don't have to speak to it.
You don't have to speak to it
That's why you're
again.
here today.
You can watch us on TV.
I can watch it. But you don't want to hear from me again anyway.
Yes.
And
Yep,
thank you very
okay.
much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Yes, Lisa, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, second is 36 Harbor Road, Andrew and Mary Lago. This is a bulkhead description. That is being replaced in kind utilizing vinyl sheathing. It's to be raised 18 inches with 50 feet of cubic yards of clean fill from upland source. This is open bayfront on Mauritius Bay. That in a nor'easter gets overtopped. There's an existing jet ski lift there that has a permit that will remain, and there's also a ladder on the bulkhead for safety access.
And how high are you raising the bulkhead?
18 inches.
18 inches.
That's what's being asked.
What are the neighbors?
It's, the neighbors are both lower.
Lower.
Yeah.
How much lower? That you should find out.
I have to double check that. I didn't have a
Yeah.
tape measure with me the other day, but I could check that.
Who's the consultant? We'll just call the consultant.
Land use ecological.
Yeah. I'll call land use, let them do it. Because you want it official.
Okay.
Are there returns on this project, or is this just?
No.
No returns, so it's 100 feet of bulkhead, so if it's elevated 18 inches, then anything
Yeah, where's the water gonna go?
overwashed, where's that material gonna go? What's gonna be stabilizing it as far as movement behind that bulkhead on a storm? That's something that we should take in consideration as far as a return, similar to what we talked about with.
Especially since they have fill, you've got a component of fill coming in on this, right?
Yes.
So how are they gonna contain that, you know?
If you don't do it, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're gonna get a storm and it's gonna wash over to the neighbor's property.
So they raised that property 2 feet, and that's what's happening.
No, so.
2 feet's a lot.
Yeah.
So-
2 feet, that's why I think the DEC's only going 18 inches.
Well,
So returns on both sides and the height of the neighboring
Yeah.
bulkheads, the
Yeah.
difference, okay?
You have,
You have that, right?
This is what I'm looking at. Yes.
You don't need it, okay.
And is there a ladder access to this property?
Yes, on the bulkhead.
Yeah, because it's 3.5 feet above average high water now. So when the project's complete, the bulkhead is going to be 5 feet above average high water, which is you definitely need a ladder to get out of there.
Or crane.
I would recommend returns on the property because that would be self-containing the project.
So we'll hold that.
Yes.
No fertilizer, no cut either in there.
Also, could we add no fertilizer and no cut, no mow to the buffer?
You could. If they're gonna put clean sand there, they should, normally if it's clean sand, they should put some kind of grass or something there.
Okay.
I mean, you can actually, even
you
for
can
a site,
tell.
ask them for a site plan of what's
Yeah.
gonna be put behind the bulkhead, the 10-foot, area. Then they can put some, whether it's red fescue or.
Beach grass.
Beach grass, Cape American beach grass. So when the Bay Constable does an
It does say
inspection.
beach grass on that.
It does?
Yep.
Well, then you already know what's gonna be there, beach grass.
Beach grass.
Beach
But
grass.
no mow and no fertilize.
No, yes.
Put that in there, okay. Okay, so holding that one for those changes. One more, which is a first renewal. First Coastal is the agent for Wendy Barron. It's a modification and a first renewal. 190 Dune Road in West Hampton Beach.
Hi, everybody again. Billy Mack, First Coastal. Hey. This is a stick dock that leads out to Moneybog Bay, and we're just looking for stair access at the end.
The homeowner said that his wife fell in and she was trying to launch her kayak because it just ends.
And it's about low tide, it's 3 feet. It's not very deep there, but.
They make the steps out of flow through.
Yeah, flow through.
We won't be so slippery.
Exactly. We've actually found that the steps, when they do go below water, hold up better than
The wood.
flow. Holds up better than the wood.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
They don't rot.
They don't rot.
They don't get
Exactly.
slippery. Barnacles don't set on.
And they've got a little friction to them.
Yeah.
They're easy to repair.
Yeah, just replace it. It's cracked.
All compliant, right?
Is this a custom First Coastal dock with a wave in the end of it?
That dock got lifted 3 times this winter. Every time we kept resetting it. That's a whole other story.
So should the stairs be removable or liftable?
They're gonna be removable for the winter.
And
Yeah.
light?
Yeah, we could make them seasonal.
Yeah, gotta be seasonal. They'll be destroyed.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Just putting stairs on it, so it's pretty simple, straightforward. 10 feet off the property line, so it's good.
Just that they be seasonal.
Yep.
That's the only thing that needs to be put in, right?
And a handrail all of it.
Yeah,
There's a
handrail on one
handrail.
side.
There's a handrail on it now. There's a handrail.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Advancing
So
that
please-
in?
Yes.
Thanks, Nick.
You getting a new cover sheet, James?
New cover sheet?
Stating that it is
Seasonal removal. Yep.
Okay, can you get it to me like by, perfect. Thank you, Billy.
All right. Okay.
That's it.
Is that it? No, I do have one question. Little Fresh Pond, the access point from the guardrail to the pond, has everybody or anybody looked at it? I was down there yesterday after the rains. There's a little bit of erosion on the very end where people, it looks like someone launched a boat with a trailer. It's right on the pond, but as far as the road, or there's very little erosion on that. My one thought would be to put a 6x6 across and put a sign, no trails or trucks past this point. That way people can pick their boats up, walk them down to the water, and then it won't erode out. You can actually even do it on the left side or the north side of the guardrail. You can make a little area there where you can take your, boat off the trailer and put it in if you wanted to. But if it's repeatedly going to be used as a launching ramp, you can see where it's worn out a little bit. There's some stones and stuff that are showing there where the grass is worn out.
And there's a pretty big hole at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't we just change what they got for the speed bumps and direct the water into each dry well on each side?
Well, it looks like what's going on there is working pretty good. The dry wells look like they're catching the water pretty good, because it doesn't look like it was worn out. It looked like someone got stuck with a trailer and kind of tried to maneuver his way out. It's only like, topsoil and loam there. It's very soft material if it gets wet. So if you put some kind of restriction just past the guardrail so you can't get any further seaward of that, then people can still access it, and if need be to pick it up, a 6x6 or something like that, something that can be removed for emergency services. My only question is, who owns from the guardrail to the pond? Because from the guardrail up is town highway, from the guardrail to the pond, it's like no man's land. Is that a town property, a trustee property?
Consider the part of the bottom.
Yeah, I'd have to do a little research, see if it was part of a subdivision map or what the history is of the dedication of the road into the highway department.
Yeah.
Usually there's how far it goes in. How much are we talking about until it becomes trustees underwater land?
About 50 feet?
50?
40 feet from the
From the end of the road?
From the end of the road, it's about 50 feet.
I think it's less than that.
40 feet?
Yeah,
It's like 30 feet, 20 to 30.
yeah, it's not very
But
far.
the guardrail is down a little bit further than the asphalt, so.
Yeah.
Right,
From the
I'd say-
asphalt, so I'd say it's at least 40 feet.
okay.
But anyhow, it's a little bit of a distance.
So let me do a little looking into
Okay.
that before we take any formal action. That way we make sure we're not.
Yeah, because I want to get emergency services, have them give us a response on what's going to be done there, because I want to make sure it's the only true access point
Right.
to the pond. So if anything needs to be done in the summer or winter, they need to get a vehicle or a boat down there. It's
Okay.
something. All right?
So let's do some more diligence before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Executive?
Yes. I'd like
Motion to close and go into executive
Motion to
session?
close and go
Thank
into
you,
executive
Bill.
For the purposes of?
litigation.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.